going on, family? This is Kevin here with the Elite State of Mind again with Jesse. How you doing today, man?
Man, I'm great. How are you?
I am doing well. I'm doing well. Family, we're glad you guys are here with us today. Again, our goal is to always learn, listen, and grow. So today, Jesse, what I want to talk about is, do you have the right keys? And in having the right keys there are some doors that we need open. There are some things we need access to.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I'm trying to use a key that's not made to open that door.
Yeah.
I'm trying to force a lock to open, or I'm trying to lock a door
Oh.
with the wrong key.
Yeah.
When we talk about the keys to life and having the right keys, where does that take you?
Oh man, having the right keys is, it makes me think about, well, who is a locksmith?
That was going to be my question.
Like, who is your locksmith? You got to figure out who you're going to go to actually get the keys from.
For me, I think you might have a couple different locksmiths in life. The first one has to be God.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he's not cutting the keys, I don't know what doors you're going to open.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think then after that, you're going to have parents, maybe older siblings, older cousins, or the mentors you find in life that can cut some keys for you.
Okay.
And then, when you're, going to these people, you gotta understand, sometimes they may not give you the key because there are some doors you're not ready to walk through.
Very true. Very true.
Now, who have been, have you had some people that gave you some good keys, or maybe some people that gave you some bad keys?
Yeah, I've had both. I had both. And here's what's bad. A lot of times, when somebody gives you a bad key, they don't do it intentionally. A lot of times.
That's fair.
Right? They're only giving you the key that was given to them.
Sure.
Not understanding that, okay, with each new house or each new owner of the house, there's new keys because the locks didn't have changed. All right? So, like you said before, we're starting with God so we can get a master key.
Right.
And every key after that is just, like you said, it is the key to the rooms inside of the house in which, he's built for us. So
now, the thing is, as you talked about, if you change ownership of a home, I think sometimes there's a danger that when we do that, whether we are changing, if you talk about yourself and maybe you're going to, a new age, or you're moving into a new venture in life.
Yeah.
Sometimes we leave the locks the same when we should have changed them. Because if I leave the lock the same,
good.
Somebody might have the key still.
Somebody who shouldn't have the key, who has no business with that key, has that key, so they still have access to the inner workings of your house.
What are the dangers of letting, said individuals or, thoughts or behaviors still have access to your house when you're trying to ascend to a higher level of being?
Well, listen, if growth is the thing, right, and we know it's something, it's what we're here to do. Like, change, the evolution is inevitable.
Right.
It is what we do. But there are some people, places, and things that will keep us from growing. And we know this for sure. We know it for certain.
Right.
Okay? So, like you said, as we move from one level to the next, as we move from one decade to the next, hey, that has closed the door. So therefore, we need to lock that booger and throw that key away. Okay? And if we move, then, hey, I need to change these locks completely, because as we know, it's human nature. The double back is a real thing. R.I.P. Enchilada. The double back is a real
Don't
thing.
rekindle.
Yeah.
Oh, don't do the rekindle.
Yeah. You're doubling back to the thing that is comfortable. Like, that's human nature for us to go back to that which is comfortable. And just because it's comfortable doesn't mean it's good for you or good to you.
No. Often there are too many perils in what is comfortable.
Yeah.
in what is, what we used to know. Because I think, comfortability, it breeds complacency.
Oh, for sure.
And in trying to, if I'm trying to get if I'm growing into a new house, it's normally because I've become uncomfortable in the home I'm in. Either my family has expanded,
Right.
Or I'm just, I'm ready to grow into something new, and I'm not. Sometimes I might hold myself back from wanting to go into that growth, wanting to go into that new place. Why is it that at times we might have somebody freely offer us a key? Boom. Here is another pathway to success. Here is, if the key may be, a book, so to speak. This is a new line of thinking. Like we were just talking to our uncle about, a book that he was reading that, is totally on the other side of all the ways that he thinks about, some things. Can't wait to get into that one.
Right.
But why would we, turn that, or maybe we take the key, but I just put it in my pocket. I don't use it for some years.
And that's problematic, right? Because I don't know about you. I know I've been guilty of that. Somebody's giving me a key and I go, oh, it's shiny, it's nice. Let me just put it, I'm gonna hold on to it.
Right.
For when I'm ready to use it. And most of the time when somebody gives you a key, that means they're ready for you to use it.
It's a now.
They expect for you, somebody give you the key. All right, then I expect to see you
in this place
right here soon. They expect for the key to be used soon. Because if not, then they're like, well, you give it back or throw it away.
Right. I think back to when we were reading, I believe it was Think and Grow Rich. And, Napoleon Hill was talking to Andrew Carnegie, and he gave him, I think it might have been 30 seconds or a minute to decide if he was going to embark on the endeavor of the study of these people and the gathering of the information which he had, set before him.
Yeah.
And he was like, man, that's not a lot of time to figure out or really dissect, do I want to do this?
Right.
Do I want to, take this thing on? And sometimes, when things have such a magnitude, in our life, I think, the saying is it, you think long, you think wrong.
Yeah.
We can, I'm an overthinker. I need everything to be lined up. from A down to about H.
Yeah.
I need all the steps there. But, like he was doing, he said, man, I had to make a choice.
Yeah.
Right there.
You gotta go, man.
Am I gonna take the key, unlock the lock, and walk through the door? And end up, changing his life.
Right.
Forever.
Right.
And so often, if you think back on, so many things that could have been life changing, that could have been, whether it was entering into a new career, whether it was, a new venture, or, you had a friend that was like, man, I'm thinking about starting this business.
Yeah.
You think of Mark Zuckerberg, who invited some friends over to his, to his dorm.
To his dorm. Yeah.
And the two that showed up are billionaires now,
right.
Whether you like Mark Zuckerberg or not.
Regardless.
But he offered a new key.
Yeah.
And only a few chose the key. Jeff Bezos, I think, they said he was, invited some people over to his house when he was starting Amazon. When all he had was the poster hanging up behind him, the little banner, and his phone book making phone calls.
Yeah.
And the brother was there by himself.
Man.
The crazy thing is, if you would just maybe have a little faith in your friends.
Yeah.
And some of those opportunities that, even though you don't know what's on the other side of the door, some doors you can go through.
Yeah.
Have you ever had an opportunity to walk through something and you were like, it's a little scary. I don't think I'm gonna go in that.
Yeah. It's happened a few times. I can think about just coming up, growing up as an adolescent. That's how you learn to let go. Definitely how I learned to let go of that fear. Like you said, we have individuals who are, I gotta have everything lined out. I learned that, hey man, I gotta take some action.
Right.
Because early on I missed out on some things because I was trying to make sure, okay, this, and this. And you said, you went to H. Dude, I was Z over here in integers, negative numbers.
Right.
I'm just sitting here, none of it. And, you're missing out on, like, for instance, hey, making a varsity baseball team. Because you're sitting here waiting versus, taking these steps that, these coaches that laid out for me or whatever. And taking the steps in the STEM program when it was new, like when it was new to Oklahoma.
Right.
We were like, I don't know about that. When everybody around me is giving keys, like I remember an English teacher, Miss Bradford. I don't even know if she's even alive now, but there at Jefferson Middle School, shout out Southside, giving me, hey, pushing this way, and I pushed again. She gave me the key. Here's the letter of recommendation. All you gotta do is go down there, you'll be, one of the first in these programs. And I was like, took letter home to parents, and they're like, oh yeah, you need to do that. But my friends,
yeah,
I'll be the only one there,
Sometimes it's tough to be the only one. It's scary to be the only one.
Yeah.
One is a lonely number. Who wrote that?
I don't know. That was.
I want to say the Beatles, but I think I'm wrong.
I don't know. Somebody help us out to figure out who that is.
But now, to take that first step, to some, and like you said, there are a lot of doors you're going to walk through by yourself.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can take some people with you, but every door isn't for everybody, and that's why you oftentimes are a single key holder.
Right.
The key was cut and then given to you to use because your key is not going to unlock my door.
Right.
One thing I say all the time, I can't take your Ford key and start up my Kia.
Nope.
Even though sometimes it might actually fit in the starter.
Right.
It's not going to turn over. I'm not going to get to turn on the power. I don't get to unlock the power.
Right.
And that's one of the biggest things in, attaining the right keys is when you begin to attain those keys. Now you're starting to unlock the power, as you talk about all the time, using your sources and resources. If you go into fitness, if you find the right keys in fitness,
yes,
you can unlock the power of how your body works.
Yeah.
How are you able to, if we stay on, with fitness, how are you able to help convey that point to some people? Because that's a place where a lot of people will reject keys.
Yeah.
Because that's something they just don't. I don't want to give up to Pepsi, Jesse.
Yeah.
I don't want to give up to Oreos.
Well, here's the deal, because one of the things I've learned, like early on in my career, I was the hardliner. No, you're going to give up the Pepsi, and you're going to give up all the Oreos, and you're going to do it right now.
Right.
We figured out that the psychology of individuals, how it works to their adherence, is we need to slowly wean them off. So I got to give them multiple keys. Here's the first door. Here it is. So I got to give them all the way up? No. Just move it to, maybe one.
One a day.
One a day. Here's key number 2. Here you go. We're going to move it just to the weekend. Key number 3, we're going to do it every other week.
Okay.
Key number 4, okay, well, for this month, we're not going to do anything. Let's just see what happens. Walk through the door. Have enough faith to pick up the key, turn it like, oh, okay, for this month, I'm going to go ahead, open this door, close it, and go forward.
Sure. Now, as a trainer, as you said earlier, who's a locksmith? As a trainer, you become a locksmith.
Yeah.
How do you get people to trust in you that this key, going through this door, following this plan, is right for them?
I think it's a matter of, again, showing them, who the locksmith is.
Some transparency.
Yeah. You understand, like, listen, I'm not the master key maker. I have enough sense to understand, who is number one. And so the study of it is understanding who made us, why he made us the way he did, and our ability to continue to grow. Because the body is a working, living organism that is always working, always moving, always changing.
Sure.
So we have to understand that. So it's my job to study to show myself approved. So we got too many trainers like, this is the only way it is, it's the only way it's going to be, and this is how I do it. And if you don't do it my way, then
you'll never get fit.
You'll never get fit. That's a lie.
Right.
Like, don't be that way. So if you understand that, then secondly, we're going towards, okay, there are particular bodies that we use, the science that they use. Okay, it could be, NASM, it could be ACE, it could be ISSA. We don't know, but understand that there are some people who are smarter than me that help put this thing together. to make sure that these protocols, it doesn't matter which one that you go to, right? Along the line, the information is going to be consistent.
Right.
And that's what shows that you've actually done some study and some research, right? It's just like writing a paper. Hey, man, I can't have just one source.
Right.
I need multiple sources in this paper to make sure I have a reference and a cross-reference, that the information that I tell you is going to be consistent, it's going to be legitimate, and hey, we know we can count on it.
Right. Now, one thing I want to pivot just for a moment.
Yeah.
Obviously, if I move into a new house, or I'm going into a new endeavor, I have changed the locks, or I've locked some things, where I put down the things that are behind me. How do I protect against somebody picking the lock? Because in anything any lock can be picked, whether it be the old school lock with tumblers, if it's an electronic key, those things, they can be hacked. They can be, people on Facebook all the time don't accept that Facebook message from me.
It wasn't me.
I was hacked. How do we protect ourselves from thieves, from usurpers, from these charlatans that are out here, just trying to get in doors that aren't meant for them?
Awareness.
Okay.
Appreciation. For the key that this is my key. There are many keys like it,
Right.
but there are none like this one.
Sure.
Right? So this key was made so that I can walk through this particular door during this time and this season. Okay. So I have to again be aware of the time and the season that I'm in. This is the direction I need to go. This key was presented to, like you said, by an uncle, by a mentor, by somebody who says, like, hey, I've been here before. You're going to need this one.
Right.
I got enough sense to pick it up, open it up, and walk in. I then need to turn around, like you said, lock it, and think, this is a pretty good door.
Yeah.
This is a pretty awesome key. What can I do to protect this space, right, that you talked about last week? I have to be able to protect, my space. So, okay, back in the day, right, put a little stick underneath the door.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that was decent. It was somewhat. But we got to think ahead. We got to think more, right? So the stick oftentimes ain't going to be enough. Because if they really want to get in there, let's say if somebody's my size, and they really want to get through the door, they're getting through the door.
Right.
Right? So what else? Okay, well, we got the stick, and we got the deadbolt, and we got the chain, and we got some other things. There are other things we can add to make sure that this door is secure. Like you said, only one person, the size of a normal door, it's only one at a time, right? We can't stand side by side and walk through the door.
Sure.
We have to be a single file line. And like you said, everybody, it can't go with you.
No, the way is narrow.
Yeah.
It's not meant for, a group of people, necessarily.
Right.
Now, in talking about groups, so when we're talking about getting the right keys, I think one thing that's very important is, to have the right people around you. And you might not all be walking through the same door,
right, but
similar doors,
right?
Because I don't believe if the paths don't align, if they're never going to meet somewhere down the road, that those individuals, that their path is for you,
right?
Now, one thing that I want to talk about is this. Obviously, from our parents, uncles, aunts, older cousins, or just elders in the community, we'll get some keys. Yeah. But sometimes those keys they're not forever keys. No. And there are some things that we need to put down. There are some doors that maybe we walked in. Yeah. But sometimes you need to turn around and walk back out. Yeah. One thing that we talk about often is, the way that we were taught, how to eat growing up.
Right. Oh man. Yeah.
The way that we were taught how to, make money, growing up.
Yeah.
That it was, you go to school, you get your nice 9 to 5, and that's just how you live, and you live the just enough lifestyle. But if I want the key to, wealth and abundance and prosperity, that may not necessarily be the way. Because in today's America, you don't get to go in at the bottom anymore and work your way up to the corner office. No. It just doesn't happen.
If you're at the bottom, guess what? More often than not, you're going to stay at the bottom because that's how how things are now. They've changed.
That's how they're designed. There's not that just get in and put your nose to the grindstone and in 30 years this whole company will be yours. Now, they still sell you the same dream.
Right.
They'll sell you false keys.
Right.
Everybody's got those keys that you've got from your local dealership. Come up here and put this key in and unlock the car and it's yours.
Yeah.
No. That doesn't happen. That doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
So, we need to be conscious of, people handing out false keys.
Yeah.
But we all, again, we have to be conscious of, there are some things that we were taught, some keys that we were given, as adolescents. And that might just be because those individuals, that's all they had. That's all they knew.
Right.
Were those things. Was, get that 9 to 5. But for us now, I don't want to be told when I can make money, when I can stop making money.
Right.
If I want to make money at, 7 a.m., I should be able to make money at 7 a.m. If I want to make money at 10 p.m., I should be able to do that.
Yeah.
So I can control, the ebb and flow of my money, when to turn off and turn on my money. Have you ever had to put down some keys that maybe you were taught by, parents or, other mentors or somebody that you were just like, man, this isn't for me anymore?
Definitely. Just in terms of understanding what, in terms of money, what it is, what abundance what it really is, not what the key that they gave me. What does it really mean to live an abundant life?
Right.
Okay. So understanding, like you said, it is unlocking the false key of I can only do things a certain way. I can only do it this one way. Everybody before me has done these things this way. This is the only way. Now I remember in our favorite book, it says that I am the way, the truth, and the light. So we understand that, okay, there is a new and a living way that he made reference to. So just because we've done it this way doesn't mean it's the way it needs to be done, but we can't be fearful to not take this key. I'm giving you the key, life.
Right.
Right? So if this is true, then I need to reevaluate, self-evaluate, and say, hey, if we've been eating this way for a few generations now, and all of my generations have health issues,
right,
potential strokes, type 2 diabetes, these other things are going on. This key, it worked back then. It was cut in the 20s, 30s,
40s, 50s.
Okay, that worked then. The reality is, okay, we've been elevated. We've got new properties.
Sure.
So whenever we build new properties, they don't take a lock from the 20s and bring it and put it on the house that's being built in 2021.
Nope, they sure don't.
Okay, so they're giving you a fresh key. So we have to take it. We're aware. Okay, we're astute. We've taken information from the 20s to 1920s to 2021, and we've looked and said, hey, this is the progression of the builders, of the homes, of the locks, of the windows. All right. We can step back and take inventory of what they've done, and from there make a better decision. That's what that's about.
Very, very, very true. I think sometimes it's, maybe we have not a false sense of loyalty, but a loyalty to, obviously to the old ways sometimes that we are fearful of letting go. Maybe fearful of hurting someone's feelings. Yeah. Fearful of, our, people not understanding us, whether it be family. One thing you hear, so often in business is that, and a friend of ours, Roy Hart, shared something the other day on Facebook talking about, don't shut down your business because people don't support you.
Right.
The world is full of people that don't know you that are going to support you.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes you go into being, an entrepreneur, or opening a new business, and the people closest to you are the main ones
looking
saying,
at you. What did you do?
don't use those keys.
Right.
Don't And the keys being the gifts and talents that you were given.
Right.
Your purpose in this life, however it is that you're going to add and be a productive member of society. They want you to sometimes suppress those keys, to hide your talent in the earth.
Yeah.
And not, just walk in the fullness of what you are. Because for them, that was a scary thing.
Right.
But as we see with our generation, and especially with the generations, that are coming after us, they are so fearless at times to, just give something a try. And you know what they say? If it fails, it fails.
Yeah.
But what you can't tell me is that I didn't give it a try.
That's right.
There are so many of us that, like you said earlier, we get the key, and I put it away in my pocket, and then I look up years later, and somebody. They use the key. Yeah. Is light years, ahead of where I want to be physically, mentally, spiritually, financially. All because, they had a little bit of faith.
Yeah.
Stepped through the door, and now they're doing things, that we wish we could be doing. Whether it's they're living comfortably, whether it is they're traveling, whether it is they're, whatever it is, they're they can do, they can take their kids to, on all these vacations, things that you want to be doing.
Right.
But because your fear kept you from, doing this. Is like if I want to go buy a $250,000 house, but then I look at what the monthly payment would be, and I can probably afford it, right?
Right.
But the fear is because now I'm not able to save what I was. I keep myself from moving to what might have been a better school district, what might be a better neighborhood, maybe even a better city. I don't want to, leave where my family's
been what's living, familiar,
for so long. But there's so many new things, that are out there to us. How do we get that mindset to shift to say, even if I have to, like you talked about earlier, if I have to walk through this door alone, if I have to unlock this lock by myself, at least I have the key. How do we say, okay, I'm going to go do it?
I think it's just a matter of just taking that action. If we're looking at those who accomplish anything great, and, the greatness is they had it in their mind to go do it, and they went and did it. So anyone who's actually stepped into the fullness of their greatness, they just took the step. Sure. It's not the absence of fear.
Right.
Right? We're defining courage. It's not the absence of fear. It's being able to take the move, take the step, even though you're uncertain, even though you're afraid. And, contrary to popular belief, it's okay for you to be afraid and still take a step.
Right. That's, I think, like you said, to understand that fear is a part of life.
Yeah.
But a lot of times the only thing that is going to help you overcome that fear is the action, like we talked about in, emotions creating motion.
Yeah.
The only way to get over that, oftentimes is to put things in motion until you no longer become afraid of what that thing is.
Right.
I think for me, one of the biggest things in, shifting the mindset was, what are the things that I'm taking in? What are the things that am I challenging myself in the things that I'm reading?
Yeah.
Or do I only read the things that I like to read?
Yeah.
The things that the authors that I fell in love with, I don't read anything that challenges my mind. I don't, listen to anything that, may say, like we talked about, that key it worked 10 years ago, but it's not going to work today.
Now. Yeah.
Oh, but it worked for mom and dad. It worked for grandma and grandpa.
Okay.
But I'm not willing to even give it an opportunity. I think so often if we don't, begin to, read new things and listen to some new things, and not talking about things that are going to compromise your core values.
Right.
That are going to change, the master key.
Right.
You yourself.
Right.
But things that are going to aid you.
Got to be challenged. You have to be challenged. That's the only way you grow, is to be challenged. Like you said, we're not going to, just tear down the foundation.
Right.
But it needs to challenge the thought, and to say, when you're reading this or you're listening to the lecture, for me, I'm listening to lectures about fasting, about autophagy. Like, does it go along with what you've read? And if it doesn't, do you have enough to say, okay, this person is looking at this differently. Let me kind of just flip a little bit. Just take a look, right? Don't be afraid to take a look at how they're presenting the information to say, oh, well, maybe I can add this to what I know and to my particular view. More often than not, too often, if someone says something completely different than what we think or say, then it's a automatic rejection. No, you're completely wrong. No.
Right.
There is some nuggets that can be taken from their particular stance and viewpoint that can actually make both of you better.
Sure. One thing, I think in attaining the right keys is that presentation of the key matters.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
You look at, like you said, you take some of the older locks that had the big keys that were, made to look a certain way. Those keys, maybe as some people call them antiques, or if they are presented in a nice shiny box, or maybe the person presenting the key has on this 3-piece suit and, the nice shoes and got out, the Mercedes. What importance should we put on the presentation of the keys that are given to us? Because sometimes, it might be the old man in his old Chevy truck with his overalls on and his boots that he's had since 1920. He might go to give us a key, and I say, "No, player,
I don't want that one."
But then the guy in his 3-piece suit, barely making the rental payment on the Mercedes. The suit was his cousin's.
Right.
It's not even his. He gives me the key, but boy, I jump.
I'm hype about it.
To take that one.
No.
When that key only leads to ruin. It leads to debt. It leads to me end up having to live his lifestyle instead of, this other gentleman over here whose key was also going to come, with some wisdom.
Yeah.
How do we discern the presentation of the key?
That is life experience. Everyone wants something shiny and new.
Yep.
That's what gets the kids, right, at Christmas.
Right.
Oh my gosh, so it's Christmas. I got a new present. I want that one. Yeah, right? It's through life experience that you are able to, like you said, discern that this is all flash. Right? This is all flash. It has no substance. But the guy over here in the overalls with the boots that come down in the old school Chevy truck sound like Sam Walton. Right? Those are the different keys. A lot of people mad at him, right? A lot of people mad at Walmart, all that. Okay, that's great. That's a whole nother show. But how it looks, we can't get caught up in how it looks. That's the old saying, everything that's shiny ain't gold.
Very true.
Right? So
judging the book by its cover.
Yeah, you judging by a cover. Oh, like you said, hey man, you got you barely making the payment on that Mercedes, and we don't know who you live with.
Right.
That's not your suit. Them shoes, hey, we don't even know. We shine them up real good though. Like, so the difference, what I heard you saying in the analogy is that, man, on one side we have peace. On the one side we have the life in which we've envisioned for ourselves. Because if you don't have peace, you don't have much of anything.
Very true.
Okay?
Very true.
So with peace on this side, on the other side, yeah, it look good. But I'm pretty sure this cat is up at night wondering how he gonna make the payment, when they coming to get the car, when he got to give this suit back. Don't spill nothing on it because it's not mine. I don't own it.
It's better to own the key than to rent it.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
I completely agree. But Jesse, before we get out of here, I just want you to share with people first how to understand themselves being the master key, and how to utilize that key.
Okay. As we say all the time, man, knowledge of self is key. So you have to put forth an effort to study who you are. As we said before, man, it's hard to give love, show respect, all of that when you haven't studied yourself enough to show yourself enough of that. Love your neighbor as yourself. No person doesn't look in the mirror and see that they have something in their face, in their eye, and doesn't remove it right? So if you're not doing these things, self-care is the term that's being used today.
Yeah.
Self-love. And it's real. It's a real thing. Like, what are you doing to make sure? We say all the time, man, do you have a skincare, or, those of us who rock the beard, do you have a beard routine? Shout out to Camila. If you're looking for a good product to use in the beard and for the skin, Camila. So using that, am I doing that on a daily basis to make sure, hey, is my beard, am I not losing hair that's not dry and brittle? I have something that's going to really take care of it. Am I washing my face? Am I oiling myself up? Because if you're able to do that for yourself, you don't have a problem serving another. Self-service is what that teaches us.
Right.
Self-care, self-love is self-service. So if I'm servicing myself, then I won't have a problem serving another, because that's what I should be doing. So the study of myself says, hey, I have these principles lined out. This is the standard is always the standard.
Right.
So the study of yourself is saying, hey, I understand what other people have said about me. I understand what the outside world has said about me. It doesn't make it true. A lot of the issues that we see out here today is because individuals, especially men, are not valuing themselves because of the lack of study for themselves. You are the one responsible for everything in your life.
Right.
You are. So if you want things to get better, you need to study yourself to see where there's any inadequacies there, anything that you need to, where you need to grow, what needs to be watered, right? So you need to go to another to get the particular key that they'll tell you, nah, nephew, that's not how we do that. This is how we do it.
Sure.
This is the way to go. This is to make sure things are in order, in line. So the study of yourself allows you to get a hold of, that master key internally.
Right.
Right? Because if you don't have control of yourself internally, you won't have control of yourself externally. And that's what can be seen, right? The external is a byproduct of the internal depth and reasoning that we've done inside of ourselves.
I completely agree. For me, guys, I just want to leave you with this, that in yourself being, the master key, and you being that key to turn the lock. First, like Jesse said, that self-love, take care of yourself. Because any key that becomes damaged is going to be very hard if it becomes bent, if, the teeth break off of it.
That's right.
It's going to be very hard for that key to then turn the lock. The second thing I want to tell you is, most of the time, if you have the key, you have access to the lock. Take care of the lock. Sometimes you might have to put some WD-40 in there. Sometimes you might have to get the dust out of it to make sure the lock still works properly. One, so you can get in, but also so you can keep some things out.
Right.
Because they're, like Jesse said, the internal and the external are both very important. I want to keep, the outside of my home safe, but I surely want to protect the inside of the home. And if I'm gone and my lock is worn down, it doesn't latch correctly, and somebody can break in. Now everything that is on the inside is exposed, and I don't know what can happen to it. But guys, we surely appreciate you all tuning in with us again today. As always, our goal is to learn, listen, and grow, and we hope you guys were able to do that today.